911, what's the address of the emergency?
Husband's on the ground and there's blood everywhere.
What happened? Tell me exactly what happened to him.
Oh, God. I went to go check on him and I saw him on the ground.
A frantic 911 call sends shockwaves through a quiet town in Missouri. On June 8, 2017, 29-year-old Lindley Rennick calls 911 after discovering the lifeless body of her husband, Ben Rennick, at his snake facility.
What's in your head?
I can't really talk to anybody because everybody just thought we were so perfect.
I know. Did you shoot him? I don't think you would have triggered me. There is a big difference between standing in front of somebody and pulling the trigger and asking someone to do it.
What seems like a tragic homicide soon unfolds into a calculated conspiracy. And as it turns out, more than one person holds the key to this case.
Sam, did you have anything to do with that?
No. We know Lindley's a liar. We know Lindley's a manipulator.
The results of the polygraph show that you failed the test.
We know Lindley went to you to get you to kill Ben.
When Montgomery County responds to that frantic 911 call on June 8, 2017, they have no idea they're walking into a nightmare. At the snake breeding facility of a renowned reptile expert, Ben Rennick, shell casings scattered across the scene reveal one undeniable truth. This is no ordinary murder.
Where was the victim found? Right back there where you still is. Is there a blood trail leading to him? Is there anything? Nothing that anything to indicate where.
An autopsy is ordered immediately as the investigation begins. Ben's wife, Lindley, paints a dramatic picture, quickly pointing fingers at Ben's brother, Sam. But her eagerness raises eyebrows. Just hours after Ben's death, Lindley rushes to claim his life insurance and starts selling off his rare, exotic snake collection. To detectives, her actions appear too swift and calculated. And when Lindley fails the polygraph test, the last veil of deception begins to lift. Though she failed, detectives intensify their investigation without hesitation. With multiple suspects still in play, only one person holds the full truth, and they're ready to bring her in.
Okay, how do you think you did, Lindley? Okay. I scored the charts, and I didn't need to take any more, collect any more data, because the data that was there was very, very clear.
Okay.
And so the results of the polygraph showed that you failed the test. Every question that I asked you concerning the relevant issue, which is whether you were involved in any way, when you answered no, it showed that you were lying. And so here's what we got to figure out. What I want to know, and I just want you to sit there and listen to me real quick, okay? I need to find out if you're sorry and if you promise not to ever do it again. Now, here's the thing. I know now, we know, and I told you at the beginning of the day, that we would both know at the end of the day whether you had any involvement in this whatsoever. And what I know is when I ask you that question, did you shoot him or did you plan to participate in any way, that when you answered no, that was a lie. Okay? So what I need to figure out is whether this was just something that just got out of hand and you didn't mean for it to get to that point, or what the deal was. Because the thing is we have done an investigation. We've looked at everything we can. Sam is not responsible. We've ruled him out. We brought you in here to find out if we could take you off that list, and we can't. We found out that you have actually failed the test today. When I asked you, did you shoot that man? You failed the test. When I asked you, did you plan to participate in any way? You failed that question when you said no. I showed deception on that. There's no doubt about it. We know it. I've been doing this a long time. There's scientific information behind that. We have done our research. We know. There's a team of investigators talking to other people right now that were involved in this. And normally the first person to talk about what happened is the one that gets the deal. Okay? Do you understand that? Okay. We've got people talking to other people, and you know damn well who I'm talking about. The people that were involved in this. Okay? So the best thing for you to do, Lindley, is explain to us right now. Your chances right now of explaining it are better right now to tell me. I know that you were involved in this. We know it. We know it. Because when I ask you, just hear me out. What I need to know is if you're sorry for doing it, if you promise never to do it again. The reason I ask you that is because you failed those questions on the polygraph. You failed. You know what that means, right? It means that when I asked you, did you do it, or did you plan to participate? When you said no, there was such a reaction. And the thing is, the reason there's a reaction is because you know it was wrong. You know it was wrong, and you know that you were involved in that. So do we. We know that, Linley. We know it. We just need to figure out why. We know that you and Ben didn't have a real good relationship there towards the end. We know that it was financial. There was financial problems. There were some other issues going on, and we just need to find out why this happened.
Since the investigation began, detectives are fairly convinced of Linley's involvement, but it's Ashley Shaw, an employee at Linley's Wellness Center, who first exposes cracks in Linley and Ben's marriage. According to her, their relationship is far from the picture-perfect image Linley portrays. Ashley reveals that Linley is struggling to keep her spa business afloat, drowning in financial problems. With Linley standing to gain a hefty life insurance payout, detectives begin to suspect this may be her way out. But Ashley's testimony raises an even more troubling question. Is money the only motive, or is something deeper at play?
We just need to find out why. That's the thing. We just need to find out.
I can't explain why I just failed that, but I didn't kill Ben, and
Well, I didn't say you killed him. I said that when I asked you those questions, there was a significant reaction to that. I've been doing this a long time.
it's really hard for me to hear that.
Yeah, I know.
I found out that he was shot not by people telling me in my driveway with a news article.
Right. Yeah.
And even
what I'm
thinking
telling
about
you,
that,
just hear me out.
horrible.
Hear me out. But you knew that coming in today. And the purpose for you coming in today is to take you off that list of people that were responsible in whatever way possible. And I had to administer that test for you to get you off that list.
I understand.
And I gave you a fair test. And we covered all those questions. And when I asked you the question about, did you plan or participate in any way, you failed when you said no. You had a significant, I'm telling you, and I'm not blowing smoke. I'm telling you the God's honest truth. I'm not here to do this. If you would have passed, you'd be walking out of here right now. But you didn't, and we need to find out why. And I need to know. I'm going to go back to that first two questions that I asked you when I first sat down here. Is, are you sorry for what happened? And do you promise not to do it again? That's all we got to know. We need to know why. Was it because you needed money to keep your spa going? Because I know that was one of the issues, at least according to the investigators, the money to keep that spa going, because that was close. That was one of the most important things to you besides your kids. You wanted that spa. You wanted to open one out on the West Coast. Yeah, I know that was important to you. And Ben was going to shut it down.
Ben was the only reason that spa made it to where it's at, and him being gone is the reason why it has to close.
But one of those listen, Linley, you've been interviewed like 5 times. And every single time during those interviews, it's my understanding that the reason you had to be interviewed more times is because more stuff came to light that you weren't forthcoming.
Probably cheating.
Yeah, there was a lot more than that. The text conversations that were deleted from your phone were actually recovered from Ben's phone, showing that there were definite arguments within the hours of his death. Were you recontacted with Mike Humphrey? Okay. All right. You're tracking me? Okay. And then the day of the murder, after that, you all haven't had that much contact. No, I don't have that much contact.
Coming in from the side.
Yeah, but the thing is that right there is very suspicious. Makes it appear like you have something to do with it. And you withheld that until one of the last interviews. The thing is, Linley, is we know you were involved. I know that. I am confident in my abilities to do a polygraph. I know that when I asked that question to you and you said no, that you would not be truthful. I know that. And it's my obligation to give you a chance to tell why that is, why you were involved in this, because I know that you were. I asked you specifically, did you shoot him? I don't think you were the trigger man. There is a big difference between standing in front of somebody and pulling a trigger and asking someone to do it. That's what I'm saying. People, when they hear things like this, they think of someone standing in front of them shooting someone dead. And that's not what I don't think you're that type of person. I really don't. But I don't think you stood in front of them and shot him. I think you probably talked to somebody about it, and maybe they went and did more than what you wanted to do. I don't know. All I'm saying is, when I asked you the question, did you plan or participate in the death of that man? That was a specific question that I asked you, and you had a significant reaction.
I'm sorry, I can't explain that, but I didn't plan my husband.
We know you did. We know you. I know at some level you talked to someone. You talked to someone, and I've got people. There are investigators talking to other people right now. Okay.
And I hope they find who did it.
Yeah. Well, what I'm telling you, Lily, is you failed the test. You failed the test. And guess what? I'm going to write a report, and I'm going to send that in with the case file to the prosecutor, showing that you failed the polygraph exam. When I ask these questions, and they're going to be like, why did Lily fail those questions on that test? Why? Why did she do that? You know what they're going to say? They're going to say she had something to do with it, and she didn't have the courage to step up and tell why she did what she did. This is huge for you. This is a turning point. This is a turning point, Lindley. I know that you were involved at some level. I know it, Lindley. I know
involved.
You were. We know you were. We're past that. We are way past that.
I wasn't involved.
We know you were at some level. We're past that. We just need to know if you're sorry for what happened.
It may be odd to see Lindley smiling, especially when her cold demeanor hints at something far more sinister beneath the surface. But detectives are about to uncover a new lead that shifts the entire case. During questioning, detectives mention a name, Michael Humphrey, a name that quickly becomes central to the investigation. As their probe deepens, detectives unearth a trove of communications between Lindley and Michael. The deeper they dig, the more alarming the connection becomes. Michael isn't just anyone. He's one of Lindley's closest exes. According to Ashley, Lindley's employee, Michael is no stranger to the spa either. He often visits, lingering long enough to raise eyebrows. Realizing the walls are closing in, Lindley plays what she believes to be her ultimate card.
I didn't have anything to do with his murder.
We know you did. We know at some level you did. We know it. I sat here and just explained all this to you.
I understand how it works, but I'm sorry, I can't go back and tell you exactly what I was thinking in those moments.
I can tell you what you were thinking. You were thinking about what actually occurred, about your conversations with whoever it was that did this. Because when I asked you, did you plan or participate in any way, you had the most significant reaction. And that tells me that when you said no, I saw that reaction means at some level you talked to somebody about the problems you were having with Ben and maybe not have asked them to do it. They just took it upon themselves. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. We will never know. All I know is that when I asked you that question, you answered no. It was a lie. And that's all anybody's going to know until you, because the only person that knows is you.
I don't know. I can't explain that. I have a tremendous amount of guilt for cheating on Ben and everything that I did. And then this happening. I understand what your polygraph said, but no, I didn't have any involvement in it.
No, what I'm telling you is, do you understand we're past any denial that you had anything to do with it? I'm telling you, you did.
No, I understand that you believe that, but no, I'm not going to say that I understand we're past that because I didn't have anything to do with it.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, you did have something to do with it. You were involved.
And I did it.
At some level. You did. And I'm past that. The investigation's past that.
That's fine. But I'm not going to agree with that because I don't believe that I did on any level, in any capacity.
Okay.
So that's fine if you all want to, but no, I won't admit to that because I didn't.
Okay.
I am I going to be able to pick my children up from school?
What time?
I need to leave here by 2:30.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come in because this is my case. So I remember I've done it. So we got the timeline down better. So Marcus does. Okay, before you came in today, I knew you were involved. Okay, this instrument that Marcus uses as a tool. I was 100% confident that you were involved in this before you came in today. Okay. Okay. There is so much circumstantial evidence against you in this case. It's mind-boggling. There's prosecutors in this state that would take this case just based on what I found out so far. I've talked to you 4 times, and I told you, I think it was at the spa when I told you that we figure all this stuff out. There's stuff that you think is deleted. Remember that? There's stuff you think that's deleted. It's not. And so that's what I've been doing for the last few months. I've been doing search warrants and subpoenas for different kinds of records. And I've been talking to people, and some of the other guys have been talking to people too. But basically what I have now is just a timeline, and I know all this stuff about your life, and Ben's life, and then other people that are in your life. So, and I said this during another interview too. I said, every time that I find out something that you didn't tell us, I have to ask myself, we have to ask ourselves, why didn't you tell us that? Remember that? So here we are again. And I can just sit here and put on a whiteboard all this stuff. So I'll just run down through some of it for you. Our first couple times, I had no idea that you and Ben had a poor relationship at all, because it never came up. At the spa, you kind of hit on it a little bit, but I had no idea about that. Your relationship was horrible. You guys had a horrible relationship. You didn't probably 6 months beforehand, but you definitely did that. And the reason I know that is because I read all your Facebook messages between them. I didn't read yours because he deleted all of them. You didn't have any text messages with Ben until the 8th. Ben's Facebook account is 14,000 something pages, because I got all that. Okay? Yours is it's a little less than 5,000.
She carries the weight of guilt over her husband's death, but at the same time, she moves forward with a series of suspicious decisions. First, she quickly sells the family home and farm. Then, she forced Sam out, showing no hesitation or remorse. To detectives, this doesn't look like grief, but calculated coldness, and they're not ready to let it slide. In a bold turn, detectives make a move so precise, it shatters Lindley's entire defense.
All of your conversations, all the fights you guys had, was not present on your Facebook account, but it was present on Ben's, because Ben doesn't delete anything. He's got texts from like 2008. So I know about the fights you guys had. I know what they were about. I know why. I know he didn't trust you, but he was not pointed enough to say, I know you're cheating. He wanted to come out, at least he might have done it in person, but he wanted to do it, and that's a lot of information for me to read through. He never came right out and said, I know you're having there. He kind of probably did, because he saw a text or this or that or whatever, and you're gone 12 hours a day. And that's just a small part of it, the relationships. So I've read all that stuff. I know what kind of person that he can be that a lot of people don't know about Ben. I know that he can be, or was, a controlling person. Probably not a lot of people know that. I definitely get that now, because if you read 6 months worth of messages between you two and all the rest of his friends, I've read stuff with his friends and all this, all of them. You can imagine, or you know how many there are. So that's one of those things. Why is that not on your Facebook anymore? It's not, because you deleted all of it. So I had to ask myself, why did you do that? Why did you delete all this history before the 8th, before the day of the murder? It's all gone. But I was lucky enough to get to read it all on Ben's, because he didn't delete all of your conversations. Okay, so that's one thing. The next thing is, when you finally told me that you were having a relationship with Eric Brimmer, the very first thing I said to you after, I said, who is it? You said, Eric. And I said, who else? Remember?
Yeah.
So what's that? It's a lie. So I have to ask myself, why is she lying about this now? Why is there another lie from Lindsay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So why?
Brandon and I had just met a couple days before that, and
3 days before.
And I mean, in my mind, it was a question I was asking to see if you could be involved in that. And I had no question that, this person that I just met, I don't want to drag him into it, you know, knowing that he had nothing to do with it. And honestly, it's something that Brandon and I have been, like, helping each other and working a lot through. It's not my job to decide what's going to be important information for someone else, and really just, like, opening up and, you know, talking about all of this stuff.
He didn't know that you also owed $15,000 to $20,000 in rent, right? And he was probably going to find that out because after the fifth, he was starting to get more involved in your business. He said, "You've got your Mondays off to do your admin stuff. I've been sending you these, not spreadsheets, but these worksheets, spreadsheet things to do your finances."
Like, I don't mean to be catty, but if you went back far enough, then you would see that Ben did that like every 3 months. He would get on it and be there and say that he was going to help me with all of this stuff, and then he didn't. So, like, Ben getting more involved in my business, like, that happened about every 3 months for like a week, and then it would go back to Randy Prep Time.
Without a doubt. The fact of the matter is that you had some sort of involvement in some way, and that you know more than you're telling me. I know, but it didn't work out like that. It didn't work out like that, and I know that because I read all that stuff. I know you guys, which is odd, but I do. It's all I've done for 4 months now. I know you guys. I know that you would have been good with that, and I don't know how that would have played out with him. I know what kind of guy he is, and I know no one else knows that, except for you. And all I want to know is your side. I want other people to know more of your side, so you can the only way you can do that is if you can help me get the people who are responsible for this.
I don't know.
You have to let me know who's responsible for this.
I don't know.
You have to let me know how that happened.
I don't know.
Lily, how did this begin to happen?
What do you mean?
How did this ball start rolling?
What?
What do you know about what happened?
I don't know what happened with it.
Who did you tell you wanted out of that relationship with? Who did you tell?
My friend.
Who?
Rebecca knew, and Ashley knew.
Knew that you wanted out of the relationship with Ben.
Yeah.
You wanted to end the marriage.
Behind every tear Lindley sheds, there's a story she's desperate to bury. Detectives soon uncover that just 2 days before Ben's death, he tried to help her clear a massive $200,000 debt. He was already in talks with the family's financial advisor, Chuck, looking for a way to support her. But Lindley has other plans. Instead of leaning on Ben's help, she chooses a darker path. And as the walls begin to close in, she tries to twist the narrative in her favor, carefully spinning the story from her point of view, hoping it will be enough to deflect the truth.
I talked to Eric about it a little bit, but we didn't talk about it a lot.
So all we have, and the case file is not in here, but all I have is a case file, and it's this big. It's a binder, and it's this big. And the first inch or so, like the first month we were doing everything with everybody, and the rest of it's about you. It's just facts. It's all facts. It's just cold, hard facts. And that's it. No one knows your side of the story because that's all we've got. Does that make sense? That's all that thing is. So that thing, is it handy? All that thing is cold, hard facts. And most of it is you. It's stuff that I've done to get you here and it's brought us to where we are today is what I'm saying. And that's all it is, but no one knows what's in your head.
I can't really talk to anybody about it because everybody just thought we were so perfect.
I know.
And I told them, I just don't want people to know.
This is it. These are all you.
That's not how it was.
That's what all that is. This is all my work since June 8th and other people. But a lot of this is what I've done. So what I'm saying is, I know. And people did think you guys were perfect. Everybody did. Everyone wanted to be just like Ben and Lindley. Want to be just like Ben and Lindley. I know.
But I never want anything bad to happen to Ben. And I feel so bad. For just cheating on him. And I know that just took more of my time away. And I'm talking about a divorce. And this is happening.
Lindley, it's too easy for me. There's too much. This polygraph, it's science. It's too easy for me. This is all fact. That instrument is fact. It's just cold, hard facts. It's the same thing as people thinking you're perfect but not knowing. That's what this is. It's all facts but not knowing why. Not knowing who. I know that's not exactly what you wanted to have happen. And I'm the person that wants to go hold the people that did that accountable for it. I want to know who did that. I want to know who I need to go talk to go down that route. Lily, I want to know who I need to go talk to go down that route. All I have is this case, this entire case, all these leads, all these interviews, all that stuff. It's all cold hard facts. I know a little bit about your side of the story, but I don't know everything. I know he was a controlling person. Not everyone knows that. When this gets written up, it's not going to be Ben was a controlling person. That's not going to be in a report when it gets submitted. You see what I'm saying?
What I can tell you with 100% certainty is I'm sitting right here in this room in front of you, is that when I asked you those questions and you said no, you were lying. You were lying.
With mounting pressure closing in on her, Lindley does what seasoned suspects often do. She immediately calls for her attorney. And just like that, the investigation slows as all further questioning halts. But what about the other man in this tangled web? Sam Rennick, Ben's brother, is at the scene on the day of the murder. When detectives brought him in earlier, his statement revealed even more details that shook the foundation of Ben's safety and exposed just how deep this twisted story goes.
Probably the easiest way to do this, because kind of a lot's gone on here, is just for you to tell us in your own words what occurred.
I work in Winchfield. It's already 45 minutes, hour east of here. Got off work, picked up babies for my wife and her new boyfriend. We just moved to Winchfield. Took the kids back to the farm. I got to the Ben and I were going to meet a babysitter. I was interviewing a babysitter. My wife's running off to Chicago with a boyfriend. I needed someone to watch the kids for tomorrow. Ben and I both were actually going to meet the Harlans, Mandy and Gracie. Ben texted me at 3 p.m. saying that he couldn't make it. He had something to do with Lindley's father. I got that. I get home at 5:45, and the red car's there, like it always is. Didn't think anything of it. Get to the house. Harlans get there about 6:30. 6:45, Lindley calls, screaming. I can't make any sense of what she's saying. I thought she ran over a dog. I walk out the front door, leave the Harlans with the kids, get to her car, which is now parked behind his, and the kids are in the car. I check out the kids. The kids are okay. She's hysterical. I know something's wrong with them. Door's wide open. I go in, and first I thought he got killed by a snake, or he's stuck somewhere with the snake. And I immediately go downstairs through the front door. I run downstairs. That's where all the big snakes are. Can't find them. I do a full 360 around the room. downstairs, can't find him anywhere, come back upstairs, go back up first, and he's not here. And then she points to the back of the room. I go to the back and I find him. And when I find him, he's face down on his belly, with his arm. There's blood everywhere, and all over the floor. And I see he's got a laceration on the back of his head, and some on his side, and on his arm. I try to feel for a pulse. He's warm, but he's blue and pale. And I flip him over. I grab him by his arm and I turn him around, and I see his face. And his face all f***ed up. But at that time, Lindley gives me the phone, and I'm talking to the 911 dispatch. I'm freaking out because I think there's some goddamn stick somewhere. And I checked for a pulse, and I could feel something moving around in his chest, but he wasn't breathing. And it was right after I flipped him over. I don't know what it was.
Initially, Sam appears calm and cooperative, but soon he reveals a dispute with Ben that began after their father's death, a revelation so shocking that it immediately raises major concern among detectives.
This is probably not related to this event with Ben, but this is, it's definitely viable information. Frank had a lot of people that he, robbed of inheritances generationally, in the millions of dollars. But we were worried they were going to come after us, so we got involved with these. Were you Jewish? Frank got involved with this group of Jewish people. Attorney, state attorney, loan shark, realtor, insurance person, all those things I got. Circle. They took good care of us after Frank passed. But one of them, who's Ben's finance guy, will be relative to this for sure because he's involved with all Ben's money. His name is Charles Chuck. We have a long history with Charles. Not a fan of him. We don't get along. He was a trustee for both my two trusts and Ben's trust when Frank died. Frank didn't want that, but Chuck weaseled his way in. We had a 13% 1-year mortgage for 5 years with him during the civil suit thing because he wanted to keep us safe for a fee. And Ben's been just, and Chuck comes with a $500 friendship every month just for being his buddy. Anyways, I found a new trustee. Ben still works with him. He's a consultant. He helps Ben with managing his finances. He is Ben's trustee. He would be aware of Ben's financial transactions. He's in D.C. right now. He's coming back. Spent a lot of his time on vacation. But ever since then, back in the day, they didn't help things. My wife just said some nasty things to Lindley that she shouldn't have. And Allie had plenty of opportunities to apologize. And she never did. I was not happy with Allie about that. I apologized for Allie. I went up to Lindley's business, brought her a bunch of baklava, and kissed her ass a bunch of times trying to make up for Allie, but Allie's stubborn.
Sam mentions that Chuck is their father's financial manager, who oversaw the legal transfer of the entire 72-acre family farm to Ben after their father's suicide in 2012, a sore point between the brothers. Both brothers live there with their families, but Sam resents that Ben inherited everything. According to Lindley, Sam even demands half the property, but Ben stands firm, not out of greed, but to protect the business they've built and ensure stability for his own family. It's a bitter dispute, and in the eyes of the investigators, it's enough to make Sam look like someone with a serious motive.
Sam, did you have anything to do with the death?
No.
Anything at all?
No. I can't imagine it. No. The answer is no. I'm wrapping my mind around all this now, but I know you're going to ask me certain questions. I have no idea what happened to my brother.
What do you think should happen to whoever's responsible for this?
You mean if I find him, or I don't know. My brother was murdered. I don't know. I got some ideas.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything stupid.
I'm not asking you if you're going to do it. I'm asking you what you think should happen.
I'm an avid believer in death penalty.
Detective Devin Faust later confirmed that Sam became a prime person of interest early in the investigation, but his cooperation, including submitting to a gunshot residue test, sharing phone records, and passing a polygraph, leads investigators to clear him of suspicion. Just when detectives fear Lindley might slip through their fingers, a shocking breakthrough arrived 3 years later from the most unexpected source. Now, this new piece of the puzzle is about to change everything.
I'm here because you used to be dating Lindley.
That's correct.
Okay. Your dad gave me a call today and said that you had reached out to him and that you wanted to talk to us.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're here. Your dad said you were wanting a deal or some leniency. I've talked to the prosecutor, okay? Prosecutor's office said that if you can give us actual valuable information in this, they'd be willing to work with you, because obviously a homicide's a little more important than violation of an ex parte.
A few months later after Ben's death, Lindley began a new relationship with a man named Brandon. By late 2018, they even had a child together. But the relationship soon turned sour, with Lindley filing a restraining order against Brandon for stalking and harassment. After violating the restraining order, Brandon ended up in jail. But on January 14, 2020, Brandon's desperation sparked a new lead that reignited the cold case. From behind bars, he contacted investigators and gave a tip that turned the entire Ben Rennick case on its head. What he revealed next would expose a truth that had stayed buried for nearly 3 years.
So, I mean, basically what happened was, I think Ben was getting to the point where he was going to leave her. She was sucking money out of him for her business, and their just relationship wasn't going well. And so her and a friend first from work started hatching this little plan, and it evolved into, when he passed away, that was not the first attempt on his life. And I don't think he's aware of, or anybody else is aware of, the first one, but he was given a protein drink one night that was laced full of enormous amounts of, and he was sick as and somehow lived through it. But the plan was for that to be the last day of his life. So from there, the plan switched to, how to back up a little bit. I think she expressed to me that she was concerned that he, with her history, could, and his financial ability, take the babies from her. He could, slip something into her drink one time and then get the process started and have her drug tested and prove her out to be an addict, all this stuff, which I think is bullshit. I think that was just talk, as far as the allegations against him and in her sleep. That's complete bullshit as well, as far as I'm concerned. I slept many nights next to her and rolled over, and she didn't sleep that hard. But anyway, her and a friend from work contacted, they took a little journey up to Jefferson City, drove around, went to Best Buy, then ended up at the trailer park. That didn't go so well, so they left, and then went back to the trailer park to visit an acquaintance that she used to date. Then that's when the final plan got hatched, and they, I think, were in very minimal communication from that point until the day it happened. But her and Michael Humphrey, he went to the spa, she got in the car with them, they left. Supposedly they went and got gas somewhere. This is over multiple conversations. It got said, and then I just, in the back of my mind, knew, okay, I need to, get as much out of it as I can in case I'm sitting right here. I believe it's the one, the break time, like you go down Grindstone and you go all the way south to to tease.
Mhm.
That break time. I believe that's the gas station they hit. They drove to the farm. He had gloves. He had a firearm. The plan was for him to do it. They get there. He hands her the gun. Says he doesn't feel comfortable doing it in case she regrets it later. Blah blah blah. That's something she's got to take care of. They pull up. He's outside throwing trash away. So it's a really awkward situation. And she plays it off like it's an old friend that came in that wanted to see all the snakes. So they go in, look at snakes, and pull it around. They act like they're leaving, go back out, get the gun, go back in. Ben's in there, cleaning, whatever, up against that back wall. And she walks in with the gun, and Ben's like, "What the f are you doing?" And she just shoots him a bunch of times and leaves. And Mike's there. Michael, whatever his name is. She gets into the car and he's in there, I don't know, trying to clean up or pick up shells or whatever, and then they leave. Michael kept the gun, supposedly to dispose of. He takes her back to the spa. Her friends at the spa and her go back into the shower, body spray room where they can clean. She could wash off, basically. They took her clothes. Michael's still out there, bag the clothes up, he takes the clothes. They wash her off, get the gunshot residue off, shower her down, plays out her day, and then her phone stayed at the spa that day. Then, yeah, she drives back home, and you guys know the rest from there, I think.
Who's the friend?
Ashley.
Brandon named 3 individuals believed to be involved in the plot, and with strong evidence, detectives make a bold move. This time, they didn't go straight to Lindley. Instead, they first focused on a man named Michael Humphrey, someone who knew the real story better than anyone, and what he told them stunned even the most seasoned investigators.
Basically, what we're here to do is we're just here to give you one last chance to tell us everything that happened. Okay, right. So I know you've had some time to think about some stuff on the way up here, obviously. So what we're more concerned with is where the gun got introduced in this whole situation.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So when did the gun get brought into the situation here? Who interjected the gun? Did you bring the gun?
No, when I first found out that it was there on, like, whenever everything went down, was whenever Lynn tried to push it into my hip right here to, like, give it to me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. What kind of gun was it?
I told him, I mean,
I don't know what you told him about the details of the gun.
Well, at first I said, it was black. And he said, well, you know more than that about guns. And I said, yeah, it was like semi-auto, like probably something like a Glock, about what it looked like to me. I didn't have but about a split second to figure out, like I said, I shoved it off like this. She ended up walking off with it, and the next thing was whenever we were inside. Like I said, I don't know if you said you haven't gone over all this with them, but inside, whenever it went off, I wasn't actually looking in the same direction. So it was, a small room, pretty loud in there. And so I went like that. When I looked back over like this, that was when she had it up like that, and I turned, I went towards the door.
You know you're going to kill him at that time. You know, Michael, we've talked to everybody involved in this case today, okay? It's not a coincidence that you're sitting where you're sitting, and we're at the Montgomery County Jail, okay?
Sure.
We know the whole plan. We know when you were first contacted. We know everything. We know that on that day, you were supposed to come that morning, but you had car problems, and you kept pushing it back. But the plan was to kill Ben Rennick that day. We know that.
That was the end goal.
So
that was their end goal.
You were in on that goal, Michael. No, Michael, you helped plan that. So here's the thing: you can either help be a witness to this, or you can be a cold-blooded killer who helped plan everything, or you got caught up with Lindley. We know Lindley's a liar. We know Lindley's a manipulator.
Yeah.
We know Lindley went to you to get you to kill Ben, and we know Lindley told you lies about Ben to pull on your heartstrings.
Yeah.
So, and it worked. And you went there to kill Ben, but you made her do it.
With mounting evidence in hand, detectives wasted no time digging deeper into the case. They carefully steered the conversation, subtly placing the weight of blame on Lindley, casting her as the driving force behind the entire plan. This strategic shift wasn't accidental. It was a calculated use of minimization, a technique designed to make the killer feel less responsible and more willing to talk. And what Michael reveals reshaped the horror into a whole new level.
I told her from whenever she first brought up any of that, I thought she was like being exaggerant, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people say, oh, you know what I mean, I wish I could just, you know, I told her, no, that was something she needed to think over and everything. There was a gap of about a week and a half or 2 weeks before we ever left to go and do this, and it's because she contacted me and said that she wanted to separate from him, and that's why I come up there.
But you knew she already tried to kill him once, and you told her she didn't give him enough.
I told her that was up. You know, obviously if it didn't work, then like in that sense, not trying to give her directive as to how to do it.
No, but
if it didn't work. Obviously, you didn't give enough. But
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like.
But you knew she wasn't exaggerating. You knew she was trying to kill him, and she wanted him dead because she already tried to kill him. You knew on June 8th he was going to die, and you knew. When you went to pick Lindley up, yes, Michael.
I don't know, because I told her I would never do that and stuff. I didn't think that she even had that in her.
Then what did you go with her to the snake farm for?
Because she'd been telling me, and he'd been on her and everything else, just to try and make sure shit didn't get out of hand. She told me she was separating from him.
She told you they were just going to separate. That's a lie. We know that you guys planned it. We've got multiple witnesses that tell us that.
Well, their stories have been worked out ahead of time.
No, their stories have been corroborated. The stories that were worked out ahead of time were the radio bullshit. The phone call about, hey, we're canceling massages, and you saying, oh my God, Ben's dead? I didn't know that. You knew Ben was dead. You said that when you were called from the spa phone, and you were even interviewed about that, and you lied about that. That story was worked out ahead of time. The stories we heard today were the first time we've heard the truth in this. We've been working on this case for 2 years.
I understand that.
The stories that were worked out were stories between you and Lindley and Ashley and whoever else at that spa. Those were the stories that were worked out ahead of time.
I told you guys whenever she called me, she said, well, they're coming around to interview all of our clients. I told you guys that Ashley called me and told me that.
And she called you and told you a heads up that police were coming. And she called you because Lindley asked her to. Because
I told you guys she called me. I don't have nothing to hide on that level. There wasn't nothing worked out upon that. I told you guys it was weird that she had called me and then let you guys know that she did. I gave you guys the number that she called from.
We already had that information.
I'm sure you did.
And you're still not telling us the whole truth. So that's why we're sitting here in this situation, and you're going to let Lindley continue to manipulate you and control you as you sit here in jail for first-degree murder. You're going to let her control you because she's a sociopathic liar.
Michael and Lindley planned the murder with meticulous detail. They even faked a text message between Lindley and Michael to throw investigators off, making it seem like Michael was unaware of Ben's death. Yet the plot had been in motion for months. In May of 2017, Lindley tried to poison Ben by lacing his protein shake with 15 crushed Percocet pills. Ben fell seriously ill, but recovered, never suspecting foul play. Then on June 7th, Lindley contacted Michael Humphrey, her ex-boyfriend, asking him to accompany her to the Rennick Reptiles facility. She claimed she needed moral support to confront Ben. Humphrey claimed the plan was to scare Ben, but Lindley later admitted she intended to kill him that day. On June 8th, they returned to the facility. Lindley went in first to talk to Ben, while Michael waited outside. Shortly after, Michael joined her inside. Ben was shot multiple times. At least 8 rounds were fired, with both Lindley and Michael present at the scene. The one question that remained the same: who pulled the trigger? Only one person holds the full truth.
When we leave here, we're not coming back to talk to you again.
So that's what you guys need to know from me, is whether I got thrown out the window or not.
No, we need to know where the gun came from and how everything actually went down. I told you earlier, and I'll say it again, I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, because you really have 2 choices. Right. You can either continue to protect Lindley and try to save face for yourself, or you can just lay it all out there and be honest. Because that's the choices you got right now. But I can tell you right now, before you even stop, when you tell a lie, we know this case inside and out. And we know every lie that you're about to tell, and I'll call you on bullshit. I don't care. I've been up all day. I've been up the last 72 hours working on this case. Okay? The rubber meets the road right here, and it's your only chance to cut the bullshit and tell what happened. We know Lindley. We know she's crazy. We know she's a liar, and she manipulated you. She manipulated a lot of people, and Ben Rennick is dead because of it. That guy did nothing. Where'd the gun come from? Did you get somebody to get her the gun?
No. At first she told me that it's going to come from Ashley's boyfriend. That's what she first told me. Where it actually came from, I don't know. As for where it went, it went out the window, but...
Where at?
One of the bridges on the way back. Like probably the third one or something. Second, third one, somewhere in there.
Who threw it out the window?
Her.
Okay. What's on the bridge? I mean, is it over water? Is it over
It looked like there was a little bit of water underneath it. Not a ton, but a little bit. It was like one of them concrete railed, a good 20, 30 foot up probably.
You talking like on the interstate? You talking on the side?
Yeah,
Okay.
on the interstate.
Third bridge on the interstate? Or third bridge
On
altogether?
on I-70 or whatever it is there, yeah.
Okay. Where'd the shell casings go?
I would assume out with it.
Who picked up the shell casings?
Her.
Okay. Why are people saying that you picked up the shell casings?
That, I don't know. I seen them in her hand when we were in the car, but I didn't pick them up. I was the first one out the door once I heard one shot.
How many times did she shoot him?
Like I told him, there was a second one probably when I went out the door, and then it sounded like and this has been 2 years, one or two more once I was outside.
What'd she say after you guys got back in the car?
We need to go, we need to go, we need to go. It probably wasn't but a half a second, but I do remember kind of being hesitant to put the car over into reverse and stuff, and then she started just, we gotta go, come on, we gotta go, you know what I mean? And so I just went up through there and tried to drive like no idiot, no, squealing tires or no crazy shit or anything like that. We got on the highway and everything, and she said she felt nauseous and felt sick and everything. She put her head on the dash and everything, just like on the ride back, put her head down. There really wasn't a whole lot said otherwise. I mean, she leaned up, smoked a cigarette, once or twice, and quite honestly, I was in a little bit of a daze, just trying to wrap my mind around everything that realistically just really, really happened. She needed to think that over and really think it over. There's a lot more other options that she can go rather than doing something crazy like that. That's exactly what I told her.
And yet here we are.
Bottom line is that you still went and picked her up, you still drove her over there, she still killed her husband, and you still drove her back, and then you didn't call anybody. I mean, so how do you think we're going to be able to sit here and explain that Michael doesn't know what's going on, or he didn't know?
And I didn't initially know if he was dead or not. I mean, I didn't stick around inside to try to find out.
You knew when she messaged you that he was dead, or you knew when Ashley called you and told you that he was dead?
Yeah, I knew by then. I'd seen it on the news like 2 days afterwards, yeah.
Thanks to Michael's cooperation, detectives finally recover the murder weapon used to kill Ben. But the revelations didn't end there. Investigators soon discover that Lindley's spa employee, Ashley Shaw, is aware of the entire plan and plays a crucial role in helping carry it out. Ashley testifies that in May 2017, Lindley had already begun planning to poison Ben.
She asked if I could get any prescription pills or anything in the amount that could help her kill him.
This aligns with Brandon's later statement, confirming that Lindley enlists Michael Humphrey to help with the murder. According to Brandon, and later corroborated by Ashley, the day of the murder is described in chilling detail. She and Michael drive to the farm, and once there, Michael hands her a gun, but says he isn't comfortable pulling the trigger. So Lindley goes inside alone and, in her own words, just shoots him a bunch of times. Armed with Brandon Blackwell's tip and mounting evidence, Montgomery County deputies arrested both Lindley Rennick and Michael Humphrey on January 16, 2020. They were charged with first-degree murder in Ben Rennick's death. Ashley Shaw also admitted to assisting Lindley in the attempted Percocet poisoning months earlier, further reinforcing the case for premeditation.
And so I got her it was Percocet, I'm pretty sure. And there was, I think, 15 of them.
In November 2021, Lindley was convicted of second-degree murder and armed criminal action. She was sentenced to life in prison. Michael Humphrey, who had cooperated with investigators and testified against Lindley, was also convicted but received a reduced sentence in exchange for his testimony.